Can we hide the tag?
Apparently, you're not supposed to take off the tag. It loses resale value.
Hi,
Tokyo Tops!
So first, Hisashiburi, I just realized that I haven't met you for like more than a month.
It's been a long time.
Yeah.
But that's also because I was away.
You were on your business trip, right?
Yeah.
So yeah.
When you were in the States, did you ever eat a Rice Krispie square?
No.
You've never had a Rice Krispie square? You've never had one?
I've never had one in my life.
This is not as sweet, probably, right?
I like it, but it tastes a little bit artificial. It's like very American. But I see why you like it though.
What's that shade?
It's not.
I see why you like it.
No. So today, we thought of like, we haven't been really talking about dating on our channel for a long while, right? I think last time was, I don't know why we feel so frustrated about Japan, and which we want to redo a video with a group of friends.
So stay tuned for that. Yeah.
Stay tuned for that. Yeah. Today we're gonna talk about our worst dating experience
in Japan.
In Japan.
Okay, so do you want to start?
I feel like no. As a channel's tradition, I think you should start.
I start?
Yeah.
This was years ago. So 2018, I think.
Yeah. Okay.
Yeah. It was before Corona, so I was in the office. I work in a very business area, we would argue, right? It's very businessy.
Yeah.
So I guess looking back on it, it makes sense that that guy was like hunting in the area. And I can't remember what app we met on. I'm guessing Grindr, because he was like focusing on foreigners essentially, but I can't remember. We were in the area. We decided he was handsome. We decided to meet up. He's like, yeah, you know, like after work, let's go to the station. There was like a bunch of like coffee bars or whatever, so let's go hang out there. I was like, cool. So we met and like we went up there and got a coffee and we're sitting and we're talking, and instantly it turns into like this weird interview. Like he was almost like, what's your job? And like, when are you thinking of, you know, leaving? Are you thinking of leaving? It wasn't trying to get to know me. He was trying to build an image of like what my lifestyle was like. And anyways, I think I got to a point where I was just kind of talking about, well, I don't plan on leaving, this and that. And then you could see that he was kind of getting like disappointed.
Because he's one of those Japanese people want to move away with his white husband in the future kind of person.
Yes.
Okay.
So that was, but it got worse because I was like, okay, so what's the thing? He was like, well, you know, like I'm only really here, I'm only dating to get married to a white guy and get a green card and leave. And then I was like sitting here having my coffee. I'm like, well, wait, did you say literally you're just here? We're on this date because you're looking for a guy who's gonna give you a green card. And he looked at me and he says, yes.
That's so blunt. Like, even if I wanted that, but I wouldn't say it out loud.
Right? Like it was, that's why I thought it was like a TV setup or something, because it seemed fake. I'm not even American.
Yeah.
So at that point, he was like, well, Canada's a possibility, I guess. Like,
it's
his
like second choice,
he was
not
like,
his first choice. Like first choice America, second choice Australia or Canada.
Yeah, exactly. Like, let's go with the Commonwealth after, fine. And then that's the reason I started feeling even worse was because he was handsome and he was in like a nice suit and everything, because he was all like Shimbashi style, salaryman style. He started literally talking about like, I don't care what you look like. And so I even challenged him on that.
Yeah.
I was like, okay, so what if someone's like, and I'm not trying to say like it in a shaming way, but I was just really trying to push in the sense of, so age doesn't matter? He was like, no. I was like, so body type doesn't matter? He's like, no. He's like, hair doesn't matter? No, nothing. I was like, so you literally look at me like there's nothing there. And he even said, I don't even want to have sex with them.
I feel that person just stupid, you know?
I was like, literally, you are there literally just for the green card. There's no intimacy, there's no that. He's like, no. And I was like, so could they have sex outside? He was like, yeah. So it just seemed like an entirely structured business transaction where I will be your boyfriend or I will be your husband, you give me a green card. It's fine if I'm the trophy husband. He was fine to be the trophy husband, but he didn't want to like suck his husband's dick, but then his husband can go and like fuck everyone else, and that was totally fine. And so at the end, I looked him in the eye, I was like, I think you need to go to therapy. And then he was like, what do you mean? And I was like, I'm trying to say, like, I was like, this date, we're already done. Like, I'm not You are
You are a
no,
piece of
yeah,
shit.
you are a piece of shit. But because I was so almost floored with his honesty, I was like, I'm gonna give you some honesty. I was like, I think there are some perhaps like mental health issues that you're struggling with. Even the fact that you're telling me this and not treating me like a human being right now, that's an issue. And he didn't get it. Like he didn't understand how that was an issue. And I was like, I know therapy is really hard to get in Japan, which is another topic I want to do down in the future. But I was like, I'm leaving now. I was like, I'm gonna go because this date's over. And he was also like just sitting there like, oh, it's over, okay. Like no emotion, nothing. And I was just like, it's over, I'm leaving. But I really wanna leave that with you, that I think you have some things you need to work out. And like, all the best to you. And I hope no one crosses your path, because you're just gonna like burn them and like cause a lot of damage in your wake. I was like, you sound like a hurt person that's gonna hurt people.
Yeah.
And you can't. I was shocked.
But like I do hear stories like yours, and people after 2 years they got their green card, they just divorced. The experience that my friend has was that even worse, like that person really pretended that he cared and he loved that person, and after 2 years it's just like no contact, act like nothing happened. How can that, like how can anyone do that? Like that's so scary.
How can you recover from that too?
I know.
You would have so many trust issues.
I would never get married again.
I've been on the ones where people, I feel like they are interested, but I think that there is like a hidden motive of also wanting to get, citizenship or something, right?
Yeah.
This was the first time that I was on a date with someone who was just blatantly honest, like, I don't care about you, I don't give a shit what you do, and where, you go at night, just like, and I was so offended by that.
Yeah.
But just hearing your story, it makes me wonder,
which one is better?
Which one's better, right? Because like being tricked for 2 years and thinking that you're in love and then having that happen to you, it would be really hard to trust someone again. And like, I don't know. Now I'm curious, like what do you guys think? Is it?
No, I don't think, I think both of them are evil,
shit.
we don't have to choose the better one in that scenario, But I just feel like if you guys really want to, if you're Japanese, you want to move out, like just using your fucking working holiday. Like we are below 35 years old.
Also,
like, work holiday. Right?
Get a job.
Yeah. Like,
and then you can probably date someone you want to date.
Be an independent woman.
Be an independent woman. Actually, though, that was one thing I remember thinking as well, like how I felt offended, was I was like, wait, you think this is my only option now? You know what I mean? Like it kind of felt like, here's the deal, and as if that was a good deal. It's not a good deal. It's not a good deal. So there was a part of it which was also like, why do you think this contract
like there's no benefit for me?
There's no benefit for me. And so then I thought, do you think I can't get anything better? Like, I mean, he was hot, but like even then, like what? Okay, like occasionally I get to suck your dick, and you're gonna be like, well, okay, here you go, Like I don't understand why you thought that was my only option.
Is he even gay? Is he in America right now? I'm just wondering.
Oh man, are you watching the channel right now?
Is your strategy working?
Did you work? Are you there? Do you have a green card? Oh my God.
It was so funny.
It'd be great if he actually did. He was like, yeah, bitches.
So my story, like I don't think there's a villain. I don't mean like my date, the person was the worst. The situation was the worst.
Okay.
Like the experience was worse. Like I want you to judge on this. Like is that my fault or is it not? Because I feel like obviously I'm not perfect, right? Like I made mistakes as well. So I think that was 2020. So first of all, like I was single at the moment. So I was like, oh, I need to go on more days to really get out of my house and to meet as many people as possible, right? So sometimes I will be really forgiving and I will be like, people don't have a picture, I will go meet them. Like, okay.
I have compassion for you here. We've all been there.
Yeah.
But we all know that that's not...
It's not going to work out very well. I know it.
But I also been there where I know it's not going to work out either, but I'm just like, well, let's give it a shot.
But it's not 2023. The story was 2020, you know? So I learned my lesson over and over again, but now I finally get it, you know, like no picture, no reply.
Yeah.
But before I was like, yeah, let's, you know, personalities matter as well. Let's don't be superficial. Let's just be more open-minded, you know? So I gave myself a chance. I gave him a chance. I'd be like, let's meet up. And the thing he's advertised himself is like, you know, I'm like, because of work, I'm not able to reveal my face, which is very typical in Japan. A lot of people say that. Like,
sure.
Like he would say like, oh, but my mitame is like 悪く言われないから.
Okay, always say that. They always say that. Yeah.
But maybe that's a way of Japanese humbly saying that they're not that looking. I don't know.
Yeah, that's what I think. Yeah.
Okay.
But it's a lie.
But I got tricked by that.
Yeah,
No,
it's a lie.
But again, like I feel really bad. Like, because like I don't want to shame people because of their look, because I really think I want to find someone not because of their look, but because of their kindness and how they love me and care about me. And so, you know, it's a dilemma over there.
Yeah.
But I do have my own preferences as well. So
it's complicated.
It's complicated, right? So he has really bad alignments of the teeth. And also there is a huge part right here, like it's like black. Like, what's that?
Was the whole tooth a different color, or was it just a spot?
It's the gum. I saw that, I lost all my interest, you know? So I saw him and was like, oh, he's definitely not mine.
Close mouth, what do you look like?
1 to 10, like 5.
Do you think it was when people say like, Kawa warukunai to iwareru kedo?
Well, I don't think he's like ugly. I don't know.
So then it was technically correct then what he said.
Again, like I don't think he's the villain. Again, like I think maybe the problem is me, you know.
Let's get back. So he catfished you. Well, he didn't catfish me. He didn't send you a picture. He said, my friends say that I'm not bad looking. Yeah. And then you met him, and then where did you meet him?
So that's like near my house.
Okay, so you met him like at a restaurant around your house?
Yeah, so we plan to have dinner together at a family restaurant.
Okay, I expected more of you. On that.
Wait, what do you mean?
I do love Caesarea, but I bet it was
not Caesarea.
It was Gusto.
No, it's actually one rank above Gusto. I don't remember the name, but it was like another one.
Ikinari.
It's not Ikinari Steakhouse.
That'd be a bad dude.
Yeah, I forgot. Like family restaurant.
Jonathan's.
Yes. Jonathan's. Thank you. I was thinking the whole day. I was like, where was that? At Jonathan's. It was more expensive than Caesarea and Gusto.
Okay.
So yeah,
they have good drinks. Okay. So you met Jonathan's. You went on a date. He came all the way to see you.
He came all the way to see me.
That's good.
After seeing him in person, I was a little bit in shock because he was also saying like, oh, he played football, like soccer, like in school, and he's like very sporty, which he is. Like I think from his body, he's very slender and kind of like the Japanese sporty body. It just like the teeth really like threw me off. Like I saw that, I just like my mood would just turn from this to like this. So at the restaurant, and we both like sit down and kind of like I just trying to be fakely nice, being like, oh, like, you know, okay, you know, just put on my mask and, you know, being a little bit bubbly. Yeah. And the food came, right? Yeah. And we ordered one of the seasonal dish. And it was terrible. Okay. Yeah, we both ordered the same
You went to
thing.
Jonathan's, okay? You went to Jonathan's, okay? You went to a family restaurant. So.
I know, but family restaurants usually don't taste terrible because they want to be safe. It's like
usually
a safe
true.
It's true. But the food was so bad that I almost like threw up. Like I was forcing myself to eat as much as possible.
Was it not just because his face was in front of you?
And also that I don't want to look up either. Like I didn't want to look up because he's eating and his teeth are out. You know? Yeah. And the food was really bad, and I was trying to concentrate on the food, but I couldn't concentrate on the food. So I was in a really bad place. Like my mood was just like at the bottom of the sea, and the whole date was like, hi. そうですね、美味しいですね. Like, I was giving the worst response. It was like the most awkward date I've ever had in my life.
It does bring an interesting question. Would it be useful to that person to tell them, yeah, you kind of tricked me? I want to be understanding of people who, for whatever reason, feel like they need to not share their identity. But at the end of the day, it's not fair because you shared your picture, right?
Yeah.
So he knows what he's getting himself into, right? It's entirely unbalanced.
Yeah.
So he's going in thinking, I like his look. Now all I need to confirm is whether the look is true in person, like, because you could have photoshopped your face, right? And whether the personality is good. You came in at a disadvantage from the start.
Yeah.
Right?
Yeah.
And you just got words, right? Did you even see a body pic?
No, he sent me a picture. It's like overexposure. So like you couldn't see the face, but you can see the shape. And he's like in some like soccer uniform. You have that experience before, right? So yes, it's like a very common story in Japan. Like people give you like kind of like a silhouette.
Yeah. Or well now, and then because of Corona, what it is now, it's the mask. Like my point is it not fair, but is it doing anyone any good for you to go on this date and not say anything to this guy because maybe he actually does believe what he said? And it's like maybe someone needs to come and kind of give him a little bit of a slap to say, my experience was that I had more expectation and I was let down. And so, you know, in the future, maybe it'd be good for you to consider sharing your picture, and then you can weed out all the people who, for whatever preference or type, doesn't work out. And then you're not wasting my time, and I'm not wasting your time. This person did themselves a disservice because they created a false fantasy about them. Had they been honest about themselves and shown a real picture of themselves, you might have gone in, I don't know, maybe the teeth would have still, but you probably would have gone in with more realistic expectations.
Yeah.
When you come and you have no picture to go off of course you're gonna give a fantasy in your mind.
Yeah.
And that doesn't help you, that doesn't help them.
I don't know. I actually thought I was really rude. Like, I don't know. I feel like I could be more. Again, like me always telling myself, like, look, it's not the most important thing. But again, I'm judging another person by his look, not by his like personality. But like the teeth thing is like really a big thing for me. I'm a human being. Again, like I'm not perfect. But at the same time, if I want to change position to those people who don't want to show their picture and they're actually not good looking, I feel like maybe it's just very hard for them. If they don't trick people, they probably get nothing. It's very hard to say because luckily I'm good looking.
Luckily, so like, we've just never had to struggle with these problems.
That's not my problem. It is very difficult because it is a very superficial dating world. You know, I don't know. Like, see, again, I don't think he's the villain here. You know, I didn't, how to say, stand my ground. I'm like, oh, no picture, I wouldn't go on the meeting. But that's the time I feel like very desperate of like love and trying to give myself more options. Don't be superficial. I think I didn't perform very well. Like I still judge him because of his look. I think I was the worst person here compared to him. I don't know.
You kind of wanted the Love is Blind,
yeah,
right? Yeah. But like Love is Blind, they meet and then sometimes they realize that love is not blind in that way, right?
Just a hug for now.
So like I get what you mean where you had the best intentions and then you met and it didn't work out and you were like, oh, I should have been more I wanted to overlook it and I couldn't overlook it. And so you felt bad about that, right?
Yeah.
But I don't necessarily think that you're in the wrong here. I still think that he had an advantage over you coming into, because he got to know you a little bit personality, got to see a picture. I think I'm also on your side as well because I'm over this type of treatment. And again, you know, even how I said, I want to be compassionate about people who, for whatever reason, they need to be discreet. But it's unfair when we're out there doing all this. Perhaps you showed up and you weren't as Mother Teresa as you wanted to be. So yes, maybe 20%, but I think like 80%. It's his fault. Let us know in the comments what you thought. Whose fault is it? Are you team Meng? Are you team
Bad teeth.
bad
Oh my
teeth?
god.
Are you team bad teeth? Let us know in the comments below.
So terrible. All right. Bye.
See you next time.
Great. We need to get food fast because we're running out of time.